because he can't get used to the operating system of Chinese phone manufacturer Huawei. The editor-in-chief of China's nationalist tabloid Global Times, that's him, even asked the Chinese to drop their bias against foreign brands. Could this be a totally separate olive branch in the trade war, or a new weapon wielded by the business elite in China who are maybe starting to think their government's trade war with the U.S. isn't a very good idea? Let's bring in Terry Miller, because he worked at the State Department on global economic issues. What do you make of this tweet?
I think it's fantastic, a demonstration that in a market economy, or when market influences start to come into an economy, as they have to at least a small extent in China, that creates different power centers in society. And you have people that previously would not have been willing to speak up with anything but the government line, feeling free to have an independent opinion and say it in a very public way. So I think it's a very positive sign. Yeah, until he disappears. Problem. We'll hope that doesn't happen. I say that because the New York Times had a whole profile on a photographer who was cataloging through his pictures all of the pollution in China, and he's gone missing. So this can happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but China has to do this very delicate dance. They've got to keep that wealthy elite happy enough so that they don't try and cause trouble for Xi Jinping. But what do they not like, or do they like this trade war with the U.S.? Oh, I think they don't like the trade war at all. I think that the Chinese at heart, I think, are great capitalists. At least they're businessmen. Yeah. And they're all about making a profit. They like to build products. They like to live a more modern lifestyle. And they're like capitalists anywhere. If the government gets in the way, and the government of China gets in the way all the time, for them, then they're going to protest. Often in China, that has to be done way behind the scenes. But as we have seen with this tweet, occasionally we can peek behind the curtain. Okay, I need to get to the Huawei executive who is currently at her bail hearing. There's some headlines about this, and there are questions as to whether the U.S. organized this and got Canada to arrest her, just to kind of put the pressure on China to settle this trade war. The Huawei lawyer is saying that U.S. climate to Huawei was hostile when judge asked why the executive did not travel to the U.S. since 2017. What does that even mean, and what's going on here? She's been accused of sanctions, of violating the sanctions that the U.S. put in place to prevent any company from doing business with Iran. Right, and that's something that we've done to a lot of executives around the world who have violated the Iranian sanctions. And the administration, all of the top-level people are denying that this was any kind of an organized event connected to the trade problems we're having with China right now. And based on my experience in the U.S. government, I would say that's probably true. I think the sanctions regime pretty much is on autopilot and is running in a law enforcement track that's quite different from what Ambassador Lighthizer or even the president are doing in terms of trade negotiations with China. I need to just get one line from you about what's going on in France. Macron, the president, Emmanuel Macron, spoke today, and, well, tonight for them, and he said, I understand the anger. Violence is totally unacceptable. We will not achieve anything until the violence stops. But he has given in and said he will not raise taxes. Do you expect that this will quell the violence that country has seen that has just been really worrisome? No, I don't think it was enough. I listened to President Macron speak, and I was surprised by how little passion he exhibited during his address to the nation. I don't think that's a proper response when you have 1,000 people in jail and violence in the streets. I would think more will have to be done before the situation in France calms down. Good to see you, Ambassador. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Terry.